Hey guys, welcome back. So this is the Nuourm C46 camera with a built-in microphone and speaker. Now I think this might be the first of its kind on our channel. We've been around for so long that I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure this is the first of its kind, meant more for the enterprise or for your office space. But I've been testing this for a few weeks and I've actually been using it for work as well while I'm working from home. And overall, for what you're paying and what you get, I have been super impressed. Now for the C46, this should not be mistaken for a few other variations that they have, probably older models. They have the C40 and the C20. The C40 has a 2K camera built in. This C46 has a 4K camera built in. And not just your regular run-of-the-mill 4K camera. This uses a Sony CMOS sensor, and like I said, I've been using it for a few weeks now and I have been very impressed with the quality. Now before we talk more about the performance, let's talk a bit about what you get in the box. You get the whole system. Obviously you get a USB cable, which is specifically a really long USB-C to A. Now you don't really need to use that. If let's say for example, like on this end it's a USB-C, right? So on the C46 at the bottom of this, you'll notice it's a C port. And then on the other end, it's a USB-A port. But if you're connecting it to a device that doesn't have a USB-A port or it's all used up, but it has a USB-C port, I have tested it with USB-C to C, so that works fine as well. Now you also get a power adapter to power the entire device. It would have been nice if it also provided power over USB-C, but it's possible that with the amount of power draw that it needs to power the speakers, the microphone, and the camera, maybe that wasn't possible. Now, some of you viewers that are pretty familiar with some of this sort of devices may realize that it kind of looks like the meeting owl. And you'll be right. I think it does draw a lot of inspiration from the design of the meeting owl. Which is fine. It's neither good nor bad. However, the meeting owl has a 360 camera on the top that you can put in the center of a circular room and it'll pick up everyone and track accordingly. This one is a front-facing camera only, so do take note. Now, Nuourm also does have a 360 version of the C46 as well. And if you guys would like me to do a test and maybe do a comparison between the two, let me know and I'll reach to Nuourm and see if I can get one to test out. Now, in terms of the design, let's face it, it is a pretty big boy. There really isn't any other way to say it. Now, you might be wondering, like, why would I want something that is this big around? I can't bring it around. It's not portable. Well, it's not really meant to be. The Nuourm C46 is, in my opinion at least, is meant more for your huddle spaces, small to maybe even medium size meeting rooms. And this one actually is meant to sort of be installed and left there. It's not really meant to be portable. However, having said that, if you don't mind the size of it, I don't see why you can't bring it around. And even though I did say that it's meant for meeting rooms, you could just as easily use it in your personal desk or in your space, your work from home setup. There is really no reason why it wouldn't work there. Now, one thing I really like is the speaker design. So you can see this sort of fabric over here. I really like that fabric. It does have a 360 speaker output here, which is really nice. And on the product page, they call it like hi-fi. I wouldn't go as far as to say that, but I think for meeting room users, this definitely fits the bill. Now, another thing I like is the buttons on the top. So these are touch capacitive buttons. You can adjust your volume over here. You can also enable the two camera modes, and I'll demo that later on. And you can very easily mute your microphone if you need. It does come with a remote, so you can use this to have the exact same features. But you also have a few other features here. A couple of other really nice touches as well. You have a 1/4 inch thread hole over here. So you can install this on a mount or on a tripod. Not entirely sure why you want to do that, but the fact that you have that option is really nice. Also, the power and the USB ports at the bottom are recessed. So that's really nice because you can put them underneath and you can place it. It makes it look a lot neater. Again, a really nice touch. Overall, they put in a lot of effort to make sure that it looks premium. And everything looks really well, aesthetically looks really nice as well. And I think on all fronts, they've more or less succeeded. Now, first up, you can actually manually, like I mentioned, it has two camera modes. It has a panorama mode, which basically just shows the entire sensor. And it has an auto framing mode, which then focuses and zooms in on a particular person. Now, with the remote, you can actually manually adjust it. So let's say, for example, I can go to panorama mode, I can zoom in and focus on an area in the room or myself that I want, which doesn't change, which is a really nice touch. Okay, so I'm using the Nuourm C46 now. So this is the camera, the microphone that I'm using from it. Right now it's set to panorama mode, and then using the remote, I can go to auto framing. So I'm going to do that right now. Don't know if you can hear that little beep. So now it frames. So this is what I meant by having a 4K sensor and why that's important. Now I've zoomed in and I haven't lost too much resolution. If the camera sensor was 1080p and it zoomed in as much as it did here, it'll look quite pixelated, right? So this auto framing is going to look for me and sort of follow me wherever I go. So if I'm here and I go over this side, is it going to follow me? It might take a few seconds and then, yeah, there you go. And then I'll go back here and I'll sit down out of the frame. It'll take a while to look for me. And then it's here, right? And then if I don't want it to follow me around, I can just go to panorama and it will show the entire sensor. Okay, so I've got Mr. Technobabble here, just to show how it looks like if there's more than one person. So obviously you can use this camera for one person, but I think it's meant more for small, medium sized meeting rooms. So we're still at the panorama now. Now, when I go to auto framing, it's not necessarily going to frame us one by one. So it's framing both of us. But as I'm talking, it would have been nice if the camera would like sort of detect that I'm the one speaking and then focus on me. And then
I'm going to do a mic test. It's not following me.
Yeah, it's not. I don't see it mentioned in the product specs that it's an actual feature, but it would be nice, maybe something to think of in the future. Okay, so that was a very quick recording demoing, well, first of all, the camera quality of the C46 as well as the microphone. Now, first up, picture quality. I am, again, very impressed for the price that you're paying. It's a Sony CMOS sensor, so I would expect a minimum performance, and it definitely hits the mark. Now, the microphone particularly impressed me. Now, like I mentioned, it has a 4-mic array setup, and you can tell from the small little holes on the top, that's basically where the microphones are placed, so they can pick up an entire area. I think it's about 16 square foot radius, which is pretty impressive. Now, a lot of devices like this, the further you get away from the microphone starts to pick up you as much as it does the reflections in the room. So you start getting the sort of echoey sound and all that. But like for me and Mrs. Technobabble, when we said our voices were really clear, that you can definitely tell a bit of audio processing going on to help remove some of the echo and make our voice a little bit more clearer and more intelligible. I think in that particular case, I think this is one of the strongest points about the C46. Now, some of you might be asking, why didn't I use some of the UC&C platforms like Teams and Zoom and Google Meet to do that demo? And I did do a recording, but the main reason why I didn't actually show you a recording from one of those calls is because, especially for Microsoft Teams and Zoom, they have a lot of their own audio processing. They do a lot of noise cancellation. They do a lot of voice, like Microsoft Teams has a feature called voice isolation, which is really, really good. But that will also mean that you will be listening to audio processing from the C46 as well as that UC&C platform like Microsoft Teams, and you'll make it sound a little better than it actually might. So because of that, I just use a generic app like the camera app that is built into Windows on my laptop. So in that recording, there really wasn't anywhere for the C46 to hide in terms of the audio performance. And even then, even though it didn't have all the audio processing and noise cancellation from Teams or Zoom, it still performed really, really well. So kudos, Nuourm. So let's talk about the price. So you can get the Nuourm C46 for only about $350 US. Now, to put things in perspective, like the Meeting Owl that I said that it kind of looks like it, that's about 3-4 times the price. Now, granted, that has a 360 camera and a lot of nifty features, but if you just want something that works, and honestly, the C46 doesn't just work. You do get auto framing features as well. It's got a good microphone, good speaker output. If you're a startup company, or if you don't really have a big budget, or if you have a ton of small meeting rooms and you want to be able to set all of them up for video conferencing at a reasonable price, the C46 definitely fits the bill. Like I mentioned, the Meeting Owl costs a few $1,000s. The other option might be like the Jabra Speak 275. So that's sort of a hockey puck microphone and speaker, but that's only a microphone and speaker, and that costs more than the Nuourm C46. So when you put things in perspective like that, The Nuourm C46 is a real steal. Alright, so that about wraps up my review of the Nuourm C46. Now, if you like this video, you know what to do, and I would love it if you would subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications on our next video. I'm JP, and I'll see you real soon.